This meeting to order, the 40th City Council of Oak Park. Let us stand for the pledge, please.
And to the republic stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
City Clerk Norris, could you please call the roll?
Mayor McClellan, Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead, Councilmember Edgar,
Here.
Councilmember Radner,
Here.
Councilmember Crawford.
Here.
Thank you, City Clerk. We are looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Having a first and a second, can we get all ayes?
Aye.
Are there any nays? Okay, the approval of the agenda has happened. Now we're moving to the consent agenda. The following items are routine items of which any member of City Council can ask to be called out individually, and we can go over in more detail. A through I on the agenda for tonight. A is regular City Council meeting minutes for May 5th, 2025. B is special City Council meeting minutes of April 28th, 2025, May 2nd, 2025. C is Public Safety Activity Summary Report for April 2025. D is request to approve payment application number 6 for 8 Mile Booster Station Rehabilitation Project M732 to CSM Mechanical of Milford, Michigan in the amount of $30,492.45. E, payment request for Newman Smith Architecture for architectural services on the Event Hub project for the total number of $3,224.35. F, appointment of representative and alternative to SACRA Board. G, request authorization to purchase the upfitting of one public works vehicle from Truck and Trailer Specialties of Howe, Michigan, totaling $10,355. H, Corridor Improvement Authority meeting minutes for January 16th, 2025, February 20th, 2025, March 20th, 2025, and April 16th, 2025. I, new and renewal license for May 19th, 2025. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Thank you, and all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Having hearing none, I believe the consent agenda has passed. C, recognition of elected officials. Having seen none in the audience, we'll move to our next part of the agenda, which is special recognition presentations. Point A, 7A, tribute and moment of silence in memory of Oak Park Public Safety Officer Henry Wolf, who was shot and killed in the line of duty on May 21st, 1973. Director Cooper, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, City Manager Tungate. I'd like to thank the City Council and City Manager Tungate for allowing me to take this time each year to honor and remember Officer Wolf. Every year we pause and take this opportunity to explain the circumstances surrounding the death of Officer Wolf. I do this not to garner sympathy or pity for Officer Wolf or the public safety profession, but I do so to describe and give context for those who have never had the chance to learn of the sacrifices of Officer Wolf. Some of the officers here today who have never heard of the circumstances surrounding this tragedy. Today we are here to remember and honor our pledge to never forget. May 21st will mark the 52nd anniversary of the death of Public Safety Officer Henry Wolf, who was killed in the line of duty on May 21st, 1973. Although none of the current members of the Public Safety Department today had the pleasure of personally knowing Officer Wolf, we stand together as one, honoring his service to this great city. Henry Wolf joined the Oak Park Public Safety Department on April 1st, 1968. Shortly after, he married his wife, Linda, with his daughter, Laura, being born the following year. Officer Wolf was a highly regarded and respected officer by his fellow officers. During this 5-year career with the department, he earned several citations, commendations, including the Citation of Valor, which was awarded posthumously. At 7:30 a.m. on May 21st, 1973, Officer Wolf made a traffic stop at Sherman and Northfield. Officer Wolf was unaware that the two occupants of the vehicle had just been involved in a shooting incident in Royal Oak. Officer Wolf approached the car. The passenger produced a gun. As Officer Wolf struggled with the passenger, the driver took Officer Wolf's gun from his holster, fired a fatal shot to the back of Officer Wolf. The two suspects attempted to flee the scene while exchanging gunfire with an Oak Park officer who was arriving to assist. The suspects were later apprehended, tried, and convicted for murder of Officer Wolf. At the age of 27, with 5 years of service, Officer Wolf made the ultimate sacrifice, leaving behind his wife and 4-year-old daughter. Each day, the men and women of this fine department proudly, without hesitation, don the uniform and badge and head out into this community to protect and serve, just as Officer Wolf did. Out of respect and gratitude to Officer Henry Wolf and for the sacrifice that he made, we stand here on this 19th day of May, 2025, to honor his service, sacrifice, and bravery. We could pause for a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Cooper. We're going to move on to 7B, which is a special retirement recognition for Karen Bryant, City Manager Tungate.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Karen Bryant is set to retire on May 29th. Karen has served here since 1998. The mayor, council, and administration of the City of Oak Park, Michigan, in testament and tribute to her distinguished public service and lasting contributions to the City of Oak Park and its residents, wish to express their sincere appreciation to Karen Bryant. You have served as a pillar of integrity in this organization and have helped set the city's high standard of excellence. You have served as a source of guidance, support, and leadership for your colleagues, and it is those qualities that will leave a lasting imprint on the City of Oak Park. Your dedicated spirit, wealth of knowledge, and overall dedication to the City of Oak Park will be sorely missed. We do have our Finance Director, Sandra Crawford, who wants to say a few words, but I want to say, Karen, thank you so much for your service, and especially tonight when we're about to present the budget. Karen has spent many years working on the budget document with myself and Sandra, so Sandra.
Absolutely. Thank you. Karen couldn't be here tonight, and we just wanted to say to her and her family, on behalf of the Finance Department, her hard work and dedication will sorely be missed, and we wish her longevity, health, and wellness, and happiness in her retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandra, and I'm going to give the plaque to you. Pass that down. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Don't get any ideas, Director Crawford. We need you. All right, we can move on to item 7C, which is the annual budget presentation. City Manager Tungate.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So we have finally arrived at this moment. I'm not going to lie, this has been quite a year for the budget process. This has been a doozy. This is my 13th budget for the City of Oak Park. So I am going to go through a brief presentation, and then I'd be happy to take questions. I know we have a public hearing, and then council considers the adoption of the budget as well as the fee schedule. So I'm going to dive right in, council members and members of the public. The objective, I didn't want to inundate you with too many statistical data sets here, but what I wanted to do was make sure that I was giving you as much of an overview as possible. So I'm going to talk a little bit about why we do a 3-year budget, the current economic climate, and as you'll see, it's vastly different than it used to be. The budget highlights, and then of course, as I mentioned, the approvals that are required. So let's go ahead to the next slide. So we do a 3-year budget here in the City of Oak Park because we want to model and plan for changes that may happen that we would not otherwise be able to see. So this includes next year's budget beginning July 1st, as well as the 2 years after that. I wanted to put this slide in here. I've put this in a couple of my presentations over the years. This is the day I walked into my job. This was actually printed a couple months after I started, but this is what I walked into. We had a $3 million deficit we were contending with. And you probably can't see the quote if you want to go back to that. If you can't see the quote from the previous city manager there, but it was severe cuts are inevitable, is essentially what he was saying, and that was true. So that's where, in my opinion, at least from my perspective, where we started. Next slide, please. And this is where we are. So back in 2015, our taxable value bottomed out, and it bottomed out at about $436 million. And that was an improvement, by the way, from 2012 of about almost 1%. So you can see here that today, in this year's budget, we are projecting that the taxable value will be up to $760 million or so. And I think what's important to note is, as you'll see in a slide coming up here, that not only have we led Oakland County for the last 3 years in taxable value percentage increase, we've also more than gone over where we were before the Great Recession began. Next slide. So here we are at our height. You can see in 2007, 2008, their taxable value was about $722 million. And there's our low, 2012, 2013. And then you can see where we are at the $760 million point. And honestly, this is quite an accomplishment. We got there quicker. You know, I think at the time when I came here in 2012, I think we predicted we'd get there in about 40 years. And that was just because of the Headley cap, you know, the inflationary cap of 5%. So we've done it. And we've done it because we've had a tremendous amount of economic development projects, which has increased our taxable value, especially in the commercial and industrial spaces. But we've also had a ton of new residents moving in, and then, of course, uncapping the taxable value of those particular properties. And then I wanted to point this out. So going back to 2011, 2012, as you can see, there was a 0% fund balance. Actually, we were projected to have a negative fund balance, which would have put us into state oversight because, as you know, by law in Michigan, we have to balance our budget. We did not have a balanced budget when I came here. Today, as you can see, we've maintained somewhere around the 17 to 20% range in our fund balance. And, you know, I keep saying this, but if we are to get a credit rating upgrade from Standard & Poor's, this will be the primary reason, is we've just maintained the stability now for quite some time, going on now 10 years. I wanted to point this out. We hear a lot from residents and other folks about taxes. So the millage rate in Oak Park today is far less, almost 5 mils less, and that includes the 2.43 increase for the recreation operating than it was back in 2015. What I think is happening is people are misunderstanding that their taxable value has increased per state law, that we have nothing to do with, and you're applying the same millage rate to a higher taxable value, and it looks like your taxes increased, and they did, for all intents and purposes. But to be clear, the millage rate is still lower today than it was 10 years ago by almost 5 mils. I wanted to put this in here too. So we're asking for a combined water and sewer rate increase of 6%. And given what we're contending with, so, you know, Great Lakes Water Authority, the Oakland County Water Resource Commission has passed on some pretty hefty water rate increases to us. We feel we're actually very proud that to our residents, we're only passing on a combined rate of 6%. And I think it's important to note that back in 2014, we hired Plant and Rand to do a water rate study for us. And at that time, they projected we'd probably have around a 10% increase right now, yet we're only going to pass on the 6% combined water and sewer rate increase. So we're very proud of this. There is communities around us, as you can see from this graph, that have much higher water rates. I think Beverly Hills is on the far end of that spectrum there. We're right in the middle. And I can share, you have a copy of this in front of you too, by the way, but I can share these slides with you electronically, council members. This is on an average user basis, about 7 units. So right in the middle, and you know, we're very proud to be able to pass on these lower than compared to our peer cities averages. So I wanted to include the retirement system funding. This has been a constant battle for us. You know, we had such a great going into, or, you know, actually coming out of COVID. As you can see, our public safety retirement system was about 68% funded. And I thought we were in the clear. Things were going to be great. And of course, you can see now that as of just the most recent valuation, and this is with a 19-year amortization schedule, council members, we're looking at about a 60% funded rate for public safety, and then about a 53.7 funded rate for the general system, which is a market improvement from where it was back in 2016, due in large part to the state giving us the 1.9 million in retirement system funding, grant funding, which we were very happy to receive and very thankful for. So we've made some headway on the retirement system on the general side. Okay, summary side of this. No increase for solid waste. This is the 6th straight year we have proposed that. So we feel very strongly that in the solid waste fund, there's enough of a fund balance to work with and to continue to provide services there. As I mentioned, the 6% combined water and sewer rate increase. We are not increasing the stormwater utility rate, and that's the 4th straight year. So since its inception, since we settled the class action lawsuit, we are not projecting to have to increase that. And I think on the staffing side, we are not giving a pay raise to our employees this year. There is a 0% pay increase across the board right now. And we are only hiring new public safety officers. We are not hiring net new staff. We are backfilling positions, but not hiring net new staff. And the only department where we are hiring new staff is public safety. Here's the problem, and Director Cooper can attest to this. We continue to look under every rock, every crevice for as many public safety officers, and you probably saw a lot of fresh faces here in the audience a moment ago. The problem is we have so many retirements happening simultaneously that we're not making up any ground. We're actually just backfilling existing positions. Now, we're going to get there. We've obviously, in the past years, we've amended our pay structure. We are one of the highest, at the 2-year mark, one of the highest departments in Oakland County. Of course, our officers do the 3 jobs, as we all know. We're very proud of that, and it is working, in my opinion, and I think Director Cooper would agree. But we have a lot of work to do just to try to fill back some of the numbers. We want to get to about 61 sworn officers, and right now we're at what, Director Cooper? Oh, go back. We're at 52. Okay, so we're at 52. So now that's a giant improvement from where we were back in 2012. We were at 42 sworn back in 2012. So that is dangerous territory there. So I do want to point out that obviously, council members, you know from our long budget sessions that we had the district court subsidy this year, and this is a huge victory, I think, for the budget, which allows us to free up some other stuff. We're going to limit it to approximately $221,000. It's important to note that the district court was subsidized $789,000 in 2022. And so I consider this a huge swing in our favor, and I won't go into all the particulars there, council members, as you know. I do think this next year, capital investments in Parks and Recreation are going to be incredible. You've seen the fence go up on our Event Hub project. You've seen the Shepherd Park project. We're about to issue debt, $10 million in bonded debt for the new community center. There's a lot of things that are going to be happening here in the capital investment side, and I think our residents are ready and eager to get it going. So lastly, I think on this one, I wanted to mention that I was hoping to have the answer to this. I know Sandra and I talked today about this, but I was hoping to have the answer tonight. I was going to make some big announcement, but I am still waiting to see if we are going to get a credit rating upgrade to AA-, which would be the first time that I know of that the city's ever been AA. So obviously we can borrow at a much lower rate if we're higher rated. So huge victory if we're able to get that. Obviously more to come on that. Next slide, please. Okay, so the approvals required are obviously the 3-year budget, most importantly next year's budget, the millage rates, council members, what you see in your packet for 25-26, and then also the fee schedule for 25-26. There were some small changes to the fee schedule, and those are marked in the fee schedule in the leaflet there inside of your packets. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have, and I would also be happy to answer any questions the public may have when we get to the public hearing. Thank you. And one more thing. I want to thank our staff, Josh, Sandra, Dave, Adam, Brittany. I'm probably forgetting people. Dave, I mentioned you, Ed. The budget is a, 2-month plus process, that, quite honestly, is exhausting. And tonight, tonight is the culmination of it. And, you know, I know it's also exhausting for city council members. They've spent, the public doesn't know this, but they've spent a tremendous amount of time, not only with staff going over the draft budgets and the work sessions, but also, of course, reviewing the documents. So I want to thank all of you, and then most importantly, the residents and business owners for their support over the years. Oak Park is undoubtedly moving in the right direction, primarily because of their support. Be happy to answer any questions you may have, council members.
Yes, Councilwoman Egger.
So, thank you very much. Since you're looking, anyway, thank you very much, City Manager Tungate, Sandra, and your crew. This is great. And I wondered if you would just explain, since we probably have a lot of residents watching, and we have some in here, what is the fund balance? What does it represent?
That's a great question. The fund balance, and I think, let me digress a moment on it for, you know, as I was mentioning, it is the primary factor that the credit rating agencies look at to determine our ability to pay back debt, okay? But essentially what it is it's a rainy day fund. So if everything, if what happened in 2008 happened again, these are the funds that we would rely on as, you know, cash on hand, let's say, unrestricted funds to pay for city services. And so the rule of thumb in city governments is you want to have somewhere between 20 and 30% best case scenario. So we're right in that ballpark, which, by the way, means that we could operate with no other assistance for 20% of the fiscal year without any additional assistance.
And that 17.3%, how much is that in real dollars?
It is about, is it 4.4 million, 4.48 million, I believe. And, you know, I wanted to point out, too, that, council members, as you know, some of our rollover funds from previous years we've been saving up in our Parks and Recreation Improvement Fund. And this is primarily because we don't want to borrow to build the event hub. We want to pay for it and not have to borrow any money and be able to get it off the books. So if we hadn't been building up into that fund, that money would have rolled over into the general fund balance, which would have made it an even larger number, which would have undoubtedly got us a AA- rating. So.
And when will we know what our rating is?
I think, are we, Wednesday? Okay. I was hoping today,
Oh,
but
okay.
this week, yeah.
All right.
There'll be
So-
a big cheer, I hope. And if we don't get it, I think we can appeal, correct? We're going to appeal. Even if we can't, we're going to appeal. It's just something, I know Sandra, I speak for Sandra when I say this as well, but this is 13 years of this. We've been trying every single year so hard. And, you know, we spent, I don't know how many hours on our ratings call the other day with the credit rating agencies. And, you know, our consultants walk us through and put a big presentation together. They are not coming to town physically yet, but that may happen as well, so.
Okay, that's great. And then we talked about, you talked about the increase in water consumption. How much is the city going to absorb, since we're not going to pass along the entire increase to residents?
So I'm actually going to defer to Dave DeCoster on that, because the GLWA wholesale rate was what, Dave?
I think the final rate approved by GLWA was 4.9% was their wholesale rate. Keep in mind, our charges include staffing and all the upgrades we do to our system. So it really depends on how much consumption the community uses that year. Consumption has been trending down. So if we see larger consumption, we could see a little bit more revenue with that fund. But as you know, it covers the CIP projects that we do. It covers our staffing. It covers sending out the bills and things like that. So it really depends on consumption.
And in addition to that, keep in mind the water and sewer fund is a separate fund from the general fund, and it's maintaining, I think, around a $10 million fund balance, and that's minimum for, you know, capital improvements, you know, rainy day fund for that particular fund, and so forth.
Okay. Okay, I've been dominating this, so anybody else, go ahead.
Any other questions from council?
I think we have to open the public hearing now, right? Yeah. Thank you, council members.
We're moving into the public hearing. Public hearing to receive citizen comments regarding the proposed fiscal year 25-26 budget and property tax millage rates. Any comments?
Ken Sherman, Jerome Street in Oak Park. I am here before you as both a resident and as a trustee of the Oak Park Library Board. Although I voted on April 15th to approve the library's upcoming 3 budgets, I am the sole trustee who continues to raise concerns with the ongoing spending of over $20,000 each budget for 9 months of library security. The library continues to receive no financial or after-school resource assistance from the Oak Park School District. This money should be utilized for reading materials, programming, or extending library hours, especially in light of cuts to library funding by the current federal administration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Any other comments? Having hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. There's a resolution adopting the fiscal year 2025-2026 budget and millage rates and acknowledging the multi-year budget, including projections for fiscal years 2026 to 2027 and 2027 to 2028. Is there a motion? Seconded by Crawford. She's newer. And then City Clerk Norris. I believe we have a first and a second motion. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead.
Yes. Thank you, City Clerk Norris. Moving on to item C of 8C, adoption of the fiscal year 2025 to 2026 fee schedule. City Manager, is anything else on that?
I just again wanted to point out that in your inner sleeve here, any of the changes that have been discussed in the departmental work sessions are reflected in red. Any increases that are proposed, and this is just at any time, obviously we are a not-for-profit, being that we're a government entity, they are increases that we can justify with administrative costs, et cetera. So most of them represent an inflationary increase.
Council, any other comments or questions? Okay, we'll move to, is there a motion or in a second on the adoption of the fiscal year 2025-2026 fee schedule?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Edgar, Councilwoman Radner. City Clerk Norris, could you please do a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to item 9A, special licenses. There's a lot of these in the city of Oak Park now. A request for special event license and waiver of fee submitted by East Oak Park Neighborhood Association for their annual picnic to be held in Best Park on July 19th, 2025 from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Radner and Councilwoman Edgar. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? Having hearing none, the motion passes. Does that need to be a roll call since there's technically a fee with it, City Clerk? No? Okay, thank you. We're moving to 10A, accounting reports. Approval of payment of invoices submitted by Garen Lukow Miller, PC, for legal services in the amount of $14,669.68. Is there a motion?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Radner and Councilwoman Crawford. Since it's money, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead.
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll be moving on to 11A. I believe City Engineer Kara Grismer is coming to the podium. This is in regards to award bids for 11-mile parking lot reconfiguration project M694 to Warren Contractors and Development of Shelby Township, Michigan, and the total amount of $1,991,091.25. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, Council, City Manager Tungate. At the January 6, 2025 regular meeting of the Oak Park City Council, we requested to bid the 11-mile parking lot reconfiguration project, M694, and it was approved. The project was advertised and 63 contractors viewed the documents. In April, City Council approved rejecting all bids from the original bid opening due to the high costs. On May 13th, 2025, a second bid opening was held and 3 bids were received and opened. The low bidder, Warren Contractors and Development of Shelby Township, Michigan, submitted a bid of $2,177,941.25 for the 11-mile parking lot reconfiguration project. This project will replace the pavements in the alley and parking lots behind the businesses between Tulare and Gardner, just south of 11 Mile, and add placemaking elements. The lowered award amount reflects rejecting the string lighting and water tower lighting, as the estimated costs for those were significantly higher than anticipated. We plan to contract that work separately. Funding is available in the Corridor Improvement Fund and the Street Lighting Fund for this project. This project will also be partially funded by the adjacent businesses as a special assessment district. We recommend that City Council award the above bid for the 11-mile parking lot reconfiguration project to Warren Contractors and Development of Shelby Township. In the amount of $1,991,091.25.
Thank you, Councilman Radner and Councilwoman Edgar. May we have a roll call vote, please, City Clerk? Unless there's any other discussion or questions.
I do have a question. So the businesses along that stretch of the parking lot are going to be assessed for part of this project.
That's correct.
So how, is the 1.9 million our responsibility, or are they going to defray those costs?
They will defray those costs, just under $300,000.
Okay. It's not too bad. And when do we think the second part of that lot will be done?
Both lots will be, have the pavement removed and replaced as part of the same project. So the lot between Tulare and Tyler, as well as Tyler to Gardner. That third lot on the east side is not going to be removed and replaced as part of this project.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from council or discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Thank you. Moving on to 11B, we'll have Deputy Director Dave DeCoster speak on award bids for 2025 Event Hub project in a total amount of $3,732,883, please.
Thank you, and good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, and City Manager Tungate. You may remember at the last meeting, I presented about $2.7 million worth of Event Hub contracts to you at that point. Those were contracts that we were aggressive on awarding to make sure we awarded those to get products ordered, to reduce the lead times for the construction. Since that time, we came back and we continue to interview contractors and consultants based on the other project scopes. Tonight, while we're not ready to provide a award on the entire project, we are looking to award about 20 to 25 more scopes of that work. They range from landscaping to site concrete, roofing, glazing, windows, overhead doors, as well as the commercial kitchen. So tonight, we're recommending the city council award the above bids for the 2025 Event Hub project totaling $3,732,883. Like I said, this is the second round of bid approvals for the Event Hub project. We will hopefully be back with you at the next meeting, I believe it's June 4th, for that final project scope award and a final guaranteed maximum price for the contract. We're still working out those final details. Funding is available in the Parks and Recreation Improvement Fund, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
City Manager?
So, Dave, one thing I'm guessing that people are wondering. So we're bringing this in steps, and I was hoping that you could explain why we are doing that.
Sure. So we were very aggressive in, once we got the final approvals from the federal government and we got our grants all figured out, we were very aggressive in getting the project bid out. We had a short amount of time between the public sealed bid opening and the last city council meeting. Like I stated, we awarded about 5 scopes. Those were the scopes with the longest lead time. Structural steel, medium voltage electric, as well as site work. So we ordered that, we awarded that at the last meeting. We got those materials ordered. We are now in queue for getting those. A lot of them have very long lead times, so that's why we were aggressive. Like I said, since that time, our goal was to bring everything back to today. Just timing-wise, only with 2 weeks only in between meetings. It was a little bit aggressive. Like I said, we stayed on track. We got a lot of cooperation with our contractors, and we're prepared at this point about the 90% mark. We're just about there, but we're not quite finally there with that final product number. So that's why we've kind of brought it in phases.
Thank you, Deputy City Manager and City Manager. Any questions or discussion from council? We need a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Crawford and Councilwoman Edgar. Hearing no other discussion or questions, can we please move to a roll call vote, please, City Clerk?
Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead.
Yes. Item 12A on the agenda is ordinances. We have a second reading and adoption of proposed text amendments to City of Oak Park zoning ordinance in the following sections. Article 1, Division 2, Article 2, Division 2, Article 2, Division 3, Article 2, Division 4, Article 3, Division 1, Article 3, Division 2, Article 4, Division 1, Article 4, Division 2, Article 4, Division 3, Article 4, Division 4, Article 5, Division 1, Article 5, Division 2, Article 5, Division 3, Article 5, Division 4, Article 5, Division 5, and Article 6, Division 1.
We need a motion to adopt.
Please get a first and a second.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Second.
Discussion or question? We have a vote by aye.
Let's do roll call on this. Councilmember Edgar.
Yes.
Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead.
Yes.
And Councilmember Crawford.
Yes.
Moving on to the city manager portion of the agenda, items 13A, B, and C, please. Thank you, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. 13A1, I would like to have our city engineer, Kara Grissomer.
Before you is a request for approval for pay application number 1 and change order number 1 in the amounts of $94,981.26 and $4,173.24 respectively for the 2025 joint and crack ceiling project M780 to Scadeller Construction of Wixom, Michigan. The change order is to cover the increased weight of the rubber joint sealer used on the project. The joints were a little wider than anticipated, and so we used a larger than anticipated amount of the rubber filler that fills the joints. This project is approximately 66% complete. Funding is available in the local streets fund, and we recommend that you approve pay application number 1 and change order number 1 for the 2025 joint and crack ceiling project M780 by Scadeller Construction of Wixom, Michigan, in the amounts of $94,981.26 and $4,173.24 respectively.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Radner. Thank you, Councilwoman Crawford. Believe we'll need a roll call vote, please. City Clerk?
Councilmember Radner?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead?
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford?
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar?
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to 13B, please, City Manager.
Okay, 13B1, I'm going to ask our city assessor, Aaron Powers, to join me in Dawn's absence. Good evening, sir. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you. Again, my name is Aaron Powers. I'm with WCA Assessing. Unfortunately, Don's unable to be here this evening, so I appreciate you having this opportunity for me to be here. But the item for your consideration this evening is a request to approve the proposed lot combination for 8 Mile Development LLC as set forth in the survey, with the condition that the survey is recorded at the Oakland County Register of Deeds. 8 Mile Development is the owner of the property, and they'd like to combine their 2 parcels into one. One is vacant, one is improved. Request was sent to city departments to review the application, respond with any objections and concerns. There were none. 2 departments did have concerns that were addressed. I apologize. The requested lot combination will not be detrimental to the adjacent properties, the neighborhood, or the city of Oak Park.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
I think we have a motion and a second. City Manager?
Just council members, I just want to clarify the 2 things. One, lot splits and combinations by charter have to come before city council, so that's why you're saying this, just as a reminder. And then number 2, and Mr. Powers, I was hoping you could explain just a little bit. This property is not the 8MK property, no. This is the one, I believe it combines the vacant lot and then the building lot next to it, adjacent to Hubble at 8 Mile, so more on the western part of 8 Mile, closer to the Forgotten Harvest headquarters.
Yes, that's correct.
Do we know what they're proposing to do with the lot?
We do, but we can't say. Not yet.
Just tell me it's not a car wash.
It's not a car wash.
Okay.
What else can you tell us?
Can we play 20 questions?
It's all good for the city, we hope. I mean, obviously, they can do a lot split and combination and sit on it. I mean, obviously, it's private property, but we hope for good things. And so, you know, we've been asked by the private owner to not disclose, but more to come.
Thank you, City Manager. Thank you. Moving on to, we have a motion and a second. We had discussion and question. Could we have a vote, please? Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I have a hearing none. Motion passes. Moving on to item 13B2, please, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I'm going to have our Finance Director, Sandra Crawford, come up and speak about this, and then I want to say a couple comments when she's done.
Absolutely. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead, council members, City Manager Tungate. Before you is a request to approve the contract with WCA Assessing for assessment and maintenance work for the city property effective June 1st, 2025 through May 31st, 2028. And it's the summary is it's a renewal of contract with WCA Assessing for the following years: 2025-26, $209,985. For the fiscal year 2026 to 2027, $220,000 for $220,484. And then for fiscal year 27-28, $231,508. And the recommended action is to approve the renewal of the contract.
Thank you, Director Crawford. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Radner.
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Crawford. Any discussion?
I have something, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes.
So this is I never do this, but I'm gonna do an I told you so moment here. So many years ago, when we were being, and Sandra, you'll remember this, when we were being told to go and use Oakland County for our assessor's office, we chose not to do it and instead hired WCA Assessing. And just recently, I got an emergency call from other communities in Oakland County who chose to go to the Oakland County Assessing Department. And the reason I received that distress call was because all of them are receiving exorbitant increases delivered to them in cost for the same services that we get through WCA. So not only am I proud of our decision many years ago, but hopefully, council members, with your approval tonight, I'm proud of maintaining our relationship with them. It's been fantastic.
Yes.
Manager, any other discussion or questions?
I do have a basic question. How do they assess properties? What do they do?
Come on up here. He'll give you the technical terms.
I'll try to keep this short.
You have ribbons.
Oh, I don't know. So in every jurisdiction throughout the state of Michigan, the assessor's role and responsibility is to annually determine the valuation of properties as of December 31st. And we've been providing that service throughout since we've been here in Oak Park, as we do with all of our other clients and clientele as well. It's complicated depending upon the types of property. There are 6 types of property that are established by the State Tax Commission: residential, commercial, industrial. Then we have developmental, timber cutover, which are things that are not terribly commonplace here. But then there's also personal property, which is assessed as well. So annually we go through and we utilize the 3 widely accepted approaches to value: the cost approach, the sales approach, and the income approach when necessary in each of those properties. And we perform what's referred to as a mass appraisal approach to our assessments. That allows us to be able to do all 10,000 plus property or 10,000 plus parcels on an annual basis. And everything that we do is determined by the State Tax Commission. The State Tax Commission sets forth the rules and regulations for assessors throughout the entire state to utilize. We utilize the cost manuals published by the state of Michigan, software adopted, approved by the state of Michigan, and policies and procedures as well. Every 5 years, annually, there is an audit of not only the assessor's office, but the jurisdiction in combination. And that's performed by a consultant on behalf of the state of Michigan State Tax Commission. So every 5 years, we're audited to ensure that we're performing proper assessing practices and that the community is up to standard. The audit for Oakland County will be scheduled for 2026. Very happy to say the last time we had an audit, everything went fantastic. And we totally anticipate that to occur next year. And that audit procedure has been in effect, I believe, since 2008. So that's the process that it goes through. State's very determined to make sure that those policies and practices are adhered to so that every taxing entity gets the proper amount of tax dollars coming to them.
And so the assessment, talk a little bit about what that represents for the individual taxpayer.
Certainly. The assessed value is the value that we believe that the property is worth as of December 31st. And the assessment's 50% of true cash value. And we determine the assessment every single year. So when you get your assessment change notice that comes out in March that says this is not a bill, and that reflects a couple of different values: the assessed value, the taxable value, as well as the capped value. The assessed value is 50% of true cash value. Taxable value is different. Taxable value is that value that you actually pay your taxes upon. That taxable value is limited upon the amount that it can increase by 5% or the rate of inflation, whichever is less. So last year we had a small 3% increase, but the 2 years prior we were actually over 5%. So that's always occurring. And then, as City Manager Tungate indicated, City of Oak Park has led Oakland County in regards to assessment increases because of the simple fact that the real estate values are just skyrocketing in the City of Oak Park, which leads to oftentimes a large gap between the taxable value or the value in which a homeowner will pay taxes on and the actual value to the assessed value, or 50% of true cash value. Now, it's very important to realize that when a new owner comes in, that taxable value becomes uncapped. We wish that everyone was made 100% aware of that fact when they go to look and purchase properties. It doesn't always occur. But that uncapping of taxable value establishes a new base tax rate for a new owner of property.
And what's that base tax rate, the new one, based on?
The assessed value. So essentially, that taxable value becomes uncapped to represent 50% of true cash value, and then the new owner establishes their cap and continues on with just a small incremental increases in taxable value, while their property value increases oftentimes well in excess of 5% on an annual basis.
Aaron, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. In 2024, our SEV was 1.29 billion. In your opinion, and maybe this is too much putting you on the spot without these figures in front of you, but how much market value has increased for our residents over that same scale of time since 2012?
So I go back, I mean, I was actually an employee of the city of Oak Park prior to working in WCA assessing, so I'm very familiar with Oak Park and the whole dip and how that's occurred and my familiarity with the jurisdiction. It's just been an explosion. I mean, what I've seen as far as when we do our sales studies on an annual basis and we see what properties in the neighborhoods are selling for, and it's very evident to me that there are very few other places in southeastern Michigan where you have such a competitive market value situation that occurs outside of Oak Park. You know, we saw historically before 2008, Royal Oak had a humongous, everybody wanted to move to Royal Oak, everybody wanted to move to Plymouth. There are certain cities that you just had a very increased market activity, and for the last 5 years, Oak Park just seems to have property values increasing at a very quick rate.
And so is it safe to say, because I've been quoting this number, in the range of $600 million to $1 billion in market value improvements since their low in 2012?
Yeah, I think that's a very safe assumption.
Okay, thank you.
And of course, there's positives to that, increased property values, but also people are paying more in taxes, so we walk a fine line.
Not if they didn't move from their property.
Right, if you stay put.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, discussion? Okay, and since this is a contract, we'll do a roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Whitehead,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Edgar,
Yes.
and Councilmember Radner.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes. We're moving on to 13C, City Manager and Public Safety, please.
Thank you again, Aaron, for your partnership. 13C1, and by the way, council members, I'm going to call Director Cooper up to do the next three. I believe it's safe to say all three of these came, these studies at least, came at the recommendation of our Traffic Safety Board. Is that an accurate statement?
Actually came via, the city engineer brought it to me, and it was through TIA, Traffic Improvement Association, who actually did the study, but
At the recommendation of the Traffic Safety Board.
yeah, Carol would probably be better to, I don't know if it was actually the Traffic Safety Board that brought these or not.
What I want people to know is that we're listening to them.
Yes, the one on Dartmouth did not come from the Traffic Safety Board, but I believe the other two did.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm good, okay. Good evening again, Mayor Pro Tim Whitehead and City Council, City Manager Tungate. I have before you Traffic Control Order Number 160, Section 1.36. City Engineer Kara Grisma contacted the Traffic Improvement Association, also known as TIA, and requested they conduct a traffic study of Dartmouth Street between Church Street and Coolidge Highway. The study was conducted to address concerns from residents about the speed of traffic and to convert the intersection control at Dartmouth Street and Kipling Street to an all-way stop. After an extensive review, TIA's recommendation is that the existing two-way traffic control at the intersections on Dartmouth between Church and Coolidge is appropriate, and the current yield sign should be replaced with stop signs. So I'm coming before City Council asking you to approve traffic control order number 160, section 1.36, adopting TIA's recommendation to replace the existing yield signs at the intersections of Dartmouth Street and Church and Coolidge with stop signs.
Do these need to be three separate motions? Anybody know? Okay, all right, I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Councilman Ryder. I have a second by Councilwoman Egger. Any discussion or questions? Having hearing none, could we please do a yay vote or a nay? If you're in favor, say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then any opposed? Okay, having hearing none, motion passes.
Okay, now before you is traffic control order number 160, section 1.37. Again, City Engineer Kara Grisma contacted the Traffic Improvement Association and requested they conduct a traffic study of the intersection of Talbot Street and Stratford Place to determine the appropriate traffic control at that intersection. This study included a field review of the intersection, collection of volume and speed data, a review of crash data for the intersection, and a safe approach speed calculation. TIA's recommendation based on their results is that the intersection control should be installed. The recommendation is to install a stop sign for traffic on northbound Stratford Place at Talbot Street so that northbound traffic on Stratford Place has to stop before entering the intersection at Talbot Street. I'm coming before City Council asking that you approve the recommendation submitted by TIA for traffic control order number 160, section 1.37.
Second.
Councilwoman Egger and Councilwoman Crawford. Any discussion or questions? Okay, having hearing none, we can move to a yea or nay vote. All those in favor, please say yea.
Yes.
Any opposed? Having hearing none, motion passed.
Okay, and the final traffic control order is 160, section 1.38. Again, City Engineer Kara Grisma contacted a Traffic Improvement Association and requested that they conduct traffic studies to determine if the following intersections warranted a stop or yield traffic control. The studies included a field review of the intersections, a review of the crash data for the intersections, a safe approach speed calculations for each intersection. Location number 1, Gardner Street and Sherwood Street, the west intersection. Location number 2, Gardner Street and Sherwood Street, the east intersection. Location number 3, Ludlow Place and Sherwood Street. Based on TIA's recommendation, it's as follows. Location number 1, Gardner and Sherwood, the west intersection, install a stop sign for northbound Gardner Street traffic at Sherwood. Location number 2, Gardner Street at Sherwood, east intersection, install a stop sign for southbound Gardner Street traffic at Sherwood. And location number 3, Ludlow Place at Sherwood Street, install a yield sign for northbound Ludlow Place at Sherwood Street. And I would ask City Council to approve traffic control number 160, section 1.38 as recommended by the Traffic Improvement Association.
So moved. Second.
First from Councilwoman Crawford and second from Councilwoman Egger. Any discussion or questions?
I think there'll be a lot of happy residents in these neighborhoods. This is great.
Big time.
Communications, let's get this out.
Yeah.
They'll see the stop signs.
Yeah. Okay, so is all those that want to approve it, please say yea.
Aye.
Yeah.
Any opposed? Having hearing none, motion passes. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Director Cooper. Council members, one more thing I wanted to mention is that on June 10th, we are going to be hosting the State of the City address here in this room, followed immediately by the official groundbreaking of the event hub, which will take place right over in the fenced-in area. We're very much looking forward to that. And with that, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, that completes the city manager report for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, City Manager. And thank you to the staff and City Manager for all the hard work done on the budget sessions. What the public gets to see is just a very, very minute portion of all the work that goes on behind the scenes to make that report go out and everything that happened with those numbers. So thank you. At this point, we're moving to call to the audience. Do we have anyone in our audience that would like to be heard? Now's your time. Leslie, we haven't heard from you in a while. You doing okay? Okay, good. All right. We'll move to call to council. We'll start with, well, I've got no slideshow normally like Madam Mayor has, so, but no, I want to say, Mayor, please feel better. She has a seasonal flu, so nothing serious, but we still want her to feel better. And then May 23rd, this Friday, I'm hosting a barbecue in the park at Shelter 2 from 4 to 8 p.m. for all the residents. Please come out. There'll be free food, hot dogs, games. We'll have some kosher dogs too, some veggie dogs as well. So please come out. We want to kick off Memorial Day the right way, so we'll have some games, and then we'll have some question and answer portions. If you have any questions for me as the Mayor Pro Temp, I'll be out there. And then there'll be some other dignitaries out there as well. I got one that was locked in today. I want you guys to come so you can see who will be there. So with that, I'm going to ask Councilman Radner if he has anything. Thank you.
Thank you. The only thing that I want to say is that my amazing mother decided to join us here tonight, so I'd like to recognize her. And also, I can tell you all that she recently became a great-grandmother. So congratulations. And good night, everybody.
Hi, Mrs. Radner.
I'm Mrs. Radner.
She's a teacher. Thank God. They're doing great. Thank you for coming out, and this was an important, though quick hearing. We've done a lot of the work behind the scenes on the budget. I'm really proud of the whole staff here at the city for putting this together and for keeping us in the black, and we are able to do good things. It frees us up to do the projects we want to do, to keep our residents happy. So I'm leaving this meeting feeling very positive. Thank you.
Councilwoman Crawford.
I am still waiting for my T-shirt from city manager that says I survived my first budget meeting. It was intensive. I could not believe the work that was put into it. So you are correct, a lot of hard work. I want to do a couple of acknowledgements. Last week, Thursday, the Recycling and Environmental Conservation Commission, they hosted a Rain Barrel 101 seminar. It was great information. And as we're talking about budget, there's some benefits to a rain barrel installation that can be passed on toward your water bill. There is some rebates that may be possible. It was conducted by our own chair, Natalie Sturm and Kara Grismer. They did a great job. So I think I am investing in a rain barrel, which I never thought I would do. Also, thank you to the residents who came out to the Oak Park Cleanup Day, also hosted by Recycling and Environmental Conservation Commission. Great job. They had a great turnout. And on Sunday, the 25th, the Beautification Advisory Commission is having their flower sale, 10 to 5 in the Oak Park Community Center. I was told for everyone to come early for the best selection of flowers. And I hate that I'm going to miss the Memorial Day barbecue, but I know it's going to be great. Finally, May 24th, weather permitting, the opening of the final season of the Oak Park Pool. So if you can, come out. That pool has been a staple for generations. So come on out. It's opening at 1 p.m. And finally, everyone have a safe have fun, but have a safe Memorial Day weekend. That's my spiel. Okay.
With no further business, I adjourn this meeting at 8:01.